Okay, so let's start with this chapter, Deep Water. It's on page number 23 of your book, Flamingo. Okay, and this is an autobiographical account by William O. Douglas, who was born in the year 1898 and he died in 1980. And he was born in Minnesota. This is an autobiographical account of his childhood. Whose childhood are we talking about here? Whose childhood? Speak up. Yes, William O. Douglas's childhood. So, see, there are certain experiences in your life, certain adventures, or you can say misadventures, that leave an indelible impression upon you and your life, and that affects you a lot. So, he's talking about one such misadventure here, wherein, as when he was a child, he faced. You must have gone through the videos that I sent you. What is the experience that he felt? What was the experience like? Yes, he was scared. It was aquaphobia, and he developed this phobia when he was a small child, and then again when he was 10 to 11 years old, again some misadventure happened with him. So this is a long account of that, and we would do a line by line explanation for the very reason that you get questions for reference to context, also extract based questions. So we will not just summarize the chapter, we'll do it in detail like we do all the other chapters and poems. Okay, so that fear of drowning, near drowning experience that he had, that fear, it remained in his mind, for many years, and to such an extent that he did not enjoy, any of the water activities, or like fishing. This particular feeling of fear, it remained in his mind for many years, and till the time that he made sincere efforts, deliberate efforts to overcome that fear. And for that purpose, he hired an instructor, and how he did that, how he finally overcame that fear. This we would all discuss in detail in this chapter. And there are various lines that are very important here. For example, he says, all we have to fear is fear itself. And then he says, in death there is peace, there is fear only in the fear of death. So there are certain lines which you can use in your different answers. As we would come across, we would discuss them. So, and also you would come across various expressions like treacherous, subdued my pride, flailed at the surface, fishing for landlocked salmon, misadventure, bobbed to the surface like a cork, curtain of life fell, back and forth across the pool. You have to infer the meanings from the context, and you would be telling me their meanings while we would come across them during our reading. So he says it had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. The Yakima River was treacherous. He says, I did not try and learn swimming in the river because the river was treacherous. What do you understand by treacherous? If I ask you to tell me the meaning of a simple word, just write it. Yes, it means that it was very dangerous. So the river was dangerous, therefore the pool was safe. So I decided and to learn swimming there. Mother continually warned me against it. Against what? Against the river. And kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. So she kept on reminding him that there had been so many drowning incidents in the river, and it was treacherous, it was dangerous, so he should not venture near it. But the YMCA pool was safe. It was only 2 or 3 feet at the shallow end, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other end, the drop was gradual. You understand the meaning of this? It was 2 or 3 feet at the shallow end. और अगर वो गहरी भी थी कहीं पर, so the drop was not sudden. It was gradual. Gradually, the depth increased. Okay, I got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. What do you understand by water wings? He says, I got a pair of water wings. What are water wings? Bolo? What are water wings? Apparatus, yes, the to help you in swimming. Okay, they're filled with the kind of apparatus that is filled with air, which helps you keep afloat. Okay, so he got them, and then he went to the pool. I hated to walk naked into it and show my skinny legs. So he was very thin and he was quite embarrassed of his body, so he did not like going in like that. But then you have to learn swimming like that. So he says, I subdued my pride. So he suppressed his pride. He was feeling embarrassed, but he subdued it and he went inside the pool. From the beginning, however, I had an aversion to the water. What do you understand by aversion? What is aversion to the water? He says, from the beginning, I had this aversion, dislike. And yes, he had this kind of hatred, a kind of dislike for the water, and there was a reason for that. He says, this started when I was 3 or so that, so yes, strong disliking. Yes, Sarabjot. Strong disliking, dislike, hatred, it's one and the same thing. So he says, this started when I was 3 or 4 years old. So there are two incidents which he's talking about in this chapter. One incident was the one which took place when he was 3 or 4 years old. Another one, the major one, that left an indelible impression on his mind. That took place in the year when he was 10 to 11 years old. So first of all, he said, I developed this kind of dislike for the water when I was just 3 or 4 years old. And he says, and father took me to the beach in California. This was the time when my father just took me to have some fun time to a beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf. What do you understand by surf? He says he and I. His father and Douglas, William O. Douglas, they stood in the surf. What do you understand by surf? Yes, it's sea wave, and on the seashore, he was where the waves keep on coming in, and the foam or froth keeps on forming there. So he was standing at the surf. I hung on to him. He was just 3 years old, so he just got hold of his father. He hung on, he clinged to him. Yet the waves still, because he was very small, and the waves, they had a lot of force, so the waves knocked him down and they just swept over him. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. But father laughed, because why did his father laugh? Why did his father laugh? He was buried underwater. He was afraid. He was frightened, but his father laughed. Can you tell the reason why? Why did his father laugh? Yes, write it. Type it in the chat box. Yes, because they were not dangerous, and he was quite near him. He was quite close to him, and he was just holding on to him. So he says, my father laughed, but there was terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the waves. It was at that time, that was the first time when I felt the strong force of the waves, the overpowering force of the waves in my life. So this particular incident happened when he was just 3 to 4 years old. The another incident which we are talking about, which is the major incident, would be when he was 10 to 11 years old. He says, my introduction to the YMCA swimming pool revived. So they brought back those unpleasant memories, and they stirred childish fears. What do you understand by stirred? What is stirred? He says they brought back unpleasant memories and also stirred those fears. What is stirred? Stirring something? What does this expression mean here in this context? Yes, stirred means they mixed or evoked. Yes, Vasudha. They evoked childish fears. But in a little while, I gathered confidence, because I was determined to learn swimming. So I gathered a little bit of confidence. I paddled with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by just imitating them, by aping them, by just copying them. I tried to learn swimming. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in the water when this misadventure, when this unfortunate happening, it happened. I went to the pool when no one else was there. One day, while I went there, nobody else was there. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tiled bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. I could see the tiled bottom. It was very white, it was clean. I was timid about going in because there was nobody else around me, so I did not feel like going in all by myself. I was timid means, what do you understand by timid? It says I was timid about going in alone. What is timid? Yes, he was nervous. He was nervous. He was fearful. He did not want to go. He was not courageous. He did not want to go alone. So he just sat on the side of the pool to wait for the others. I had not been there long when in came a big bruiser of a boy. What is big bruiser means? A very heavily built boy. What is big bruiser of a boy? A person who is very tough and rough and kind of a boxer type. Yes. Probably 18 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen. Yes, he was very aggressive. He looked very aggressive, but he was very good looking, and he was physically very well built with legs and arms that showed rippling muscles. Rippling means making a kind of wave. He yelled, "Hi, Skilly. How would you like to be ducked?" He just addressed me, and he addressed me as skinny, and he said, "How would you like to be ducked?" What is to be ducked means? To be, what is to be ducked? What is this word? Yes, to plunge someone or something in water, to be pushed in water. He says, "How would you like if I just push you inside water?" And with that, he didn't wait for me to answer. What did he do? He just picked me up and tossed me into the deep end. I had barely started swimming. I did not know, I was not a good swimmer. I did not know how to swim. He picked me up and he just pushed me into the deep end. And that deep end was how deep? It was 9 feet deep. He tossed me into the deep end. I landed in a sitting position, because I was sitting there, so he threw me and I landed just like that in a sitting position. I just swallowed water and went at once to the bottom. I was frightened. This is very important. Underline this. I was frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits. I was afraid, but I had kept my senses on. I was still in my senses. I was not frightened out of my wits. On the way down, he made a he made a strategy, he made a plan. And what was his plan? That when my feet hit the bottom, this is the first time when he was going downwards. So you need to remember this. He went at least 3 times, and you need to remember what his strategy was, how he fared, and what he did. So he says, my plan was that when I would hit the bottom, when my feet would hit the bottom, I would make a big jump. I would come to the surface of the water, I would lie flat on it, and I would paddle to the edge of the pool. This was his strategy. That was the plan, the meticulous plan that he had thought of that he would do. He would hit the bottom, his feet would hit the bottom, he would make a big jump, he would come to the surface, and you just paddle. He would lie flat on the surface and he would paddle to the edge of the pool. This was the plan. If you're asked about the plan, you have to write this in a short answer question. Got it? Yes or no? Followed or not? Speak up. Speak up. Have you followed? Okay. So it seemed a long, okay, good, good. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet. So this was the first time that he was going towards the bottom of the pool. He had no experience. That was just a plan that he had thought in his mind. Whether that plan would be successful or not, he did not know about that. Those 9 feet were more like 90. So he thought that he would immediately touch the bottom, his feet would immediately touch the bottom of the pool, but nothing like that happened. Those 9 feet seemed like 90, they were more than 90. And before I touched bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. My lungs were ready to burst. But when my feet hit bottom, but then still I had that plan in my mind. So then immediately, whenever, my feet hit the bottom, I summoned, what is summoning? He gathered all his strength and he made what I thought was a great spring upwards, great jump upwards. According to him, it was a great jump towards the surface of the pool, towards the surface of the pool. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cock. What do you understand by this? Bobbing to the surface like a cock. Yeah, that is okay. Move up in water to float or yes, yes, yes. So he says he thought that he would come up and his face would be out of water just like a cock. And instead, but this did not happen. Instead, I came up very slowly. He was very slow to come to the surface. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. He thought that he would come to the surface, his face would be out of water, but when he opened his eyes, he saw nothing. He was still inside water. He saw nothing but water all around him. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it, the water that had a dirty yellow color to it. I grew panicky. It was at that time that panic surrounded me. I was full of fear. Panic gripped me. It held me tightly. I reached up as if to grab a rope. He did not know how to swim, so he just started, reaching out to catch hold of something, as if he would grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. He could not find anything. There was nothing inside it. So he could get only water in his hands and he could not hold on to anything. Okay, I was suffocating. My lungs were aching. They were about to burst. I tried to yell. I tried to shout, but no sound came out. Then what happened? My eyes and nose, they came out of the water, but not my mouth. This part of my face, my eyes and nose, they came out, but my mouth was still inside water. I flailed at the surface. What do you understand by flailing at the surface? It says, I flailed at the surface of the water. to strike or lash out vigorously at the surface of the water. Yes, yes, he tried to move his arms and legs very vigorously, very quickly, because he wanted to come out. But what happened? What was the result? What was the consequence? He moved without control. He moved his hands and arms without any control. But what was the consequence? The consequence was he just swallowed water and he choked. He felt suffocated. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights. They were paralyzed, as if they were paralyzed and rigid. Rigid means they were. What is rigid? What is rigid? Yes, stiff. Yes, very stiff, very hard, not flexible at all. Yes, good. A great force. There was some kind of a force that was pulling me underwater. I screamed, but only there was nobody around me to hear me out. I screamed, but only water heard me. I had started the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. So this is the second time. First time he went towards the bottom of the pool. What did he think? He thought that the moment he would touch his feet would touch the bottom of the pool, he would make a big jump and he would spring to the surface of the water like a cork. But that did not happen. Now this is his second journey downwards. Okay, so he says. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. I struck at the water as I went down, expending my strength as one in a nightmare fights an irresistible force, as if somebody is having a nightmare and somebody is fighting an irresistible force. I had lost all my breath, all my energy had waned now. I had lost it. My lungs ached, my head throbbed. There was a strange kind of a pulsation in my head. I was getting dizzy. I was getting unconscious. बेहोश सा हो रहा था मैं. But I remembered. But still, I had my senses on and I remembered the strategy. And what was the plan? What was the strategy? What was the strategy? That I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like a cork to the surface. Okay, this was the strategy, this was the plan that I had thought of when I had started my journey downwards the first time. The same plan I had in mind the second time. Now I thought I would jump with more force. I would lie flat on the water, strike out with my arms, and I would crash with my legs, and I would get to the edge of pool by paddling, and I would be safe. This was my second journey downwards. I went down, down endlessly. I opened my eyes, nothing but water, again with a yellow glow, with a yellow tinge, dark water that one could not see through. Okay, and then what happened? The second time, while he was moving downwards, sheer, stark terror seized me. Terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control. I was terrified, I was frightened out of my wits. टेरर दैट नो वन कैन अंडरस्टैंड हु हैज नॉट एक्सपीरियंस्ड इट. ठीक है, आप ये कहानी सुन रहे हो, उसका एडवेंचर सुन रहे हो, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट till the time you experience it yourself. So he says that terror, I cannot explain the terror to you because this can be felt only by someone after experiencing it. Okay, I was shrieking underwater. I was shouting with all my force underwater. I was paralyzed underwater. I was stiff. I was rigid with fear. Even the screams in my throat, it was as if my screams, my shouts, my yelling, it was also frozen in my throat. Only my heart and that pounding in my head, that said that I was alive. I could hear my heartbeat, I could hear that pulsation, the strong throbbing in my head, and that made me realize that I was still alive. And then, in the midst of the terror, a touch of reason. I started thinking practically. I must remember. And what was the practical thought? What was the approach? What was the plan? That I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. At last, I felt the tiles under me. My toes reached out as if to grab them. I jumped with everything I had. Jumped with everything I had means I jumped with all the courage, all the strength, all the energy that was left in me. But the jump made no difference at all. The water was still around me. I looked for ropes. Again, I started clutching for and trying to hold on to ropes, ladders, and water wings, but nothing could get into my hands but water. A mass of yellow water held me. Stark terror took an even deeper hold on me, like a great charge of electricity. Like a charge of electricity, had hit me. I was so much terrified, so much frightened. I shook and I trembled with fright. My arms would not move. My legs would not move. I tried to call for help, to call for mother, but nothing, nobody heard me and nothing happened. And then, strangely, there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. To my surprise, I thought that my life would end there. But strangely, I was coming, at least my eyes were coming out of water. My nose was almost out too. Then I started down, but then again, my mouth was underwater and I started down. Downward journey again began a third time. I sucked for air, but I got what? I got only water. The yellowish light was going out. Then, this is important, then all effort ceased. I had stopped, my energies were exhausted, my energy was exhausted, so all effort stopped. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp, motionless, without having any life in them. And the blackness swept over my brain. It wiped out fear. That blackness, it wiped out fear. It wiped out terror. There was no more panic. Initially I had, twice when I had got down, I had grown very panicky. But now this third time, there was no panic. It was quiet and very peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice. He felt this is very nice to be drowsy. I was feeling drowsy. I was feeling sleepy. No need to jump. Too tired. I was actually too tired to jump. It's nice to be carried gently, to float along in space, tender arms around me like the arms of my mother. Now he says he was just about to close his eyes and he felt that I would go to sleep forever. Okay, this was his feeling at that time. So he crossed to oblivion. What is oblivion? What is oblivion? He says, yes, oblivion refers to the state of non-existence. Yes, forgetfulness. It is total forgetfulness. He crossed to oblivion, and the curtain of life. He became unconscious, and the curtain of life fell. What do you mean by curtain of life fell? What do you mean by this expression? What do you mean by this? Curtain of life fell. What do you mean by this? Curtain of life fell. That it came to an end. That it means death. So he felt that he was just near death and he would die. Okay. He says the next thing he remembered, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool. I became unconscious. I did not know who brought me out. But the next thing I remembered is that I was lying on my stomach and I was, vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, but I was only fooling. Someone said the kid nearly died. He said, it was just kind of a joke. And somebody remarked that this kid nearly died because of your joke. Be all right now. Let's carry him to the locker room. Several hours later, I was made to rest for quite some time. And after many hours, I walked home. I was weak and I was trembling. I shook and cried when I lay on my bed. I was totally exhausted. I cried because of that pain. I couldn't eat that night. I had lost all my appetite. I could not eat. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset me. I could not come out of that fear. Even when I got tired very slightly, I got upset, making me wobbly in the knees. Whenever I was tired a bit, I became unstable. I could not walk properly and I became sick to my stomach. I started puking, I started vomiting. This was the consequence of that misadventure on me. Let's discuss these questions that are given on this page. What is the misadventure that William Douglas speaks about? Yes, what is this misadventure that he's talking about? Raise your hands, and only when you are asked to speak, you would speak then, and I would give you time for that. What is the misadventure that he's talking about? Every time I have Akarshita, the first one to respond. Tushita is the first one to give the assignment, and Akarshita is the first one to respond. And without any fail, Tushita has been since the last, for the last 1 year, 1.5 years, Tushita has been the first one to submit her assignment. Hanji, bolo. What is the misadventure that William Douglas speaks about? Speak up.
Years old, he was thrown in the pool by a bully of 18 years old. He was thrown at the shallow end of the pool, which was 9 feet deep. After which he had the fear of water, and he was unable to come up to the surface of the water after drowning.
Yes. Yes, very good. Very good. He said he was the misadventure that he's talking about.
That he's talking about is the one which he experienced when he was just 10 or 11 years old, and he was sitting at the side of the pool, and a big boy around 18 years old, he came and he just threw him uh, quite shockingly. Not towards the shallow end, Sarabjit, towards the deep end of the pool. The shallow end was only 2 to 3 feet deep. The deep end was 9 feet deep. So he threw him, he tossed him over to the deep end of the pool, and that experience was this is a misadventure, and he nearly died. It was a near drowning experience. He nearly died, and he made a lot of plans. He planned that he would come to the surface like a cock. He would jump with all his strength. He struggled 3 times, but he could not do anything. And then he just became unconscious, and somebody brought him out towards the edge of the pool. What were the series of emotions and fears that Douglas experienced when he was thrown into the pool? What plans did he make to come to the surface? First of all, you need to tell me what were the series of emotions and fears. Yes. What were the series of emotions and fears? Yes, Mehak Kaur. Mehak Kaur replied.
Douglas was frightened when he was thrown into pool. However, he was not frightened out of his wits. While sinking down, he made a plan. He would make a big jump when his feet touched the bottom of the pool, and he would come out to the surface like a cock and lie flat on it and pedal to the edge of the pool.
And felt suffocated by the water. His perceptions gave away, and his heart pounded loudly. His lungs became paralyzed with fear, and his mind became dizzy, and his lung ached as he gulped water while making desperate attempts to come out of it.
Yes. So he says he was frightened, yet he was not frightened out of his wits. He made desperate and frantic efforts. He made
That he made were frantic, the efforts that he made were desperate, and he was frightened, but he says he was not frightened out of his wits. What were the plans that he made to come to the surface? The plan was simple one, that the moment his feet would touch the bottom of the pool, he would make a big jump and he would come to the surface of the water, and he would paddle to the edge of the pool. He would lie flat on the surface, and then he would paddle to the edge of the pool. How did his experience affect him? What was this near drowning experience like? What was the consequence of this? How did it affect him? Yes, yes, Akarshita. Bolo.
Very frightened, and he developed an aquaphobia, and he couldn't go to water, and he avoided water whenever he could. And he had that weakness in himself, and he was so tremble and shocked, and that when he went to his house, that after that incident, he cried himself to the bed, and he wasn't able to eat anything that night also, and his heart, his mind, and his soul was haunted by the fear of just getting close to the water itself.
Yes. Experience, it left him very weak. This experience left him trembling. He was, he cried even when he was on bed. He could not eat that day. And even after that day, the slightest exertion upset him, and it made him wobbly in the knees, and it made him sick to the stomach. He felt like vomiting every time he got little exerted. So this was the effect, and he could not enjoy any of the water activities. Okay, we'll continue from where we left now, page number 27. He says, I never went back to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. It was at that time that I became aquaphobic, hydrophobic. So he says, I could not go near water. A few years later, when I came to know the waters of the Cascades, I wanted to get to them. Many years passed. Then I started feeling like going near water. And whenever I did, whether I was wading the Titan or bumping river or bathing in warm lake of the gold drops, the terror that had seized me in the pool, it would come back. No, I failed every time. Whenever I felt like going near water, I went near it. That terror, that stark terror that seized me. It would take possession of me completely. My legs would become paralyzed, they would become fixed and rigid, they would not move. Icy horror would grab my heart. This handicap stayed with me as the years rolled by. In canoes on main lakes, fishing on landlocked salmon, bass fishing in New Hampshire, trout fishing on the Deschutes and Metolius in Oregon, fishing for salmon on the Columbia. Everywhere I went, whether it was for fishing or canoeing or any other activity, it ruined everything. That misadventure. He says it ruined my fishing trips. It deprived me of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. I could not enjoy any of the water activities because of that one misadventure that took place in my life. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, I was sick and tired of myself. I was sick and tired of my fear of water. So, what happened? One October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week. With the help of that instructor, I practiced 5 days a week, 1 hour each day. The instructor put a belt. This is very important. Underline all this. You know, how did he build? How did the instructor build a swimmer out of Douglas? So this is the explanation that is given here. What did the instructor do? The instructor put a belt around me. Then a rope was attached to the belt and it went through a pulley that ran on overhead cable. He held to the end of the rope, to the rope of the rope, and we went back and forth. With the help of that rope, he held me and we went back and forth on that pulley across the pool, hour after hour, day after day, week after week. On each trip across the pool, a bit of the panic seized me. Still I was panicky. A bit of panic seized me every time I went across the pool. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold, he had that hold on that rope, and it was, my confidence in him that he was holding me. That was why I could paddle across the pool. But each time he relaxed his hold on the rope, and I went underwater. I went underwater. Some of the old terror returned, and my legs again became paralyzed. They became frozen and rigid. It was 3 months before the tension began to slack. What do you understand by began to slack? Began to what? What is slacking? Tension began to slack means tension began to ease out. It was 3 days. Began to go. It began to go away or become lesser. Then he taught me to put my face underwater. After 3 months, he taught me to put my face underwater and exhale, and then to raise my nose and inhale. This is how you learn swimming. I repeated the exercise hundreds of times. Bit by bit, I shed part of my panic that seized me when my head, every time my head went into water, that panic seized me. A bit of terror seized me, but it was by bit with practice that I overcame that panic. Next, he held me at the side of the pool and had me kick with my legs. For weeks, I did just that. At first, my legs refused to work. Initially, my legs did not work. They became frozen. But they gradually relaxed, and finally, I could command them. They could work according to my wishes. My brain and my legs and everything was in coordination. Otherwise, every time I went underwater, my legs froze. Then, piece by piece, this can come as a question: how did this the instructor built a swimmer out of him piece by piece? And when he had perfected each piece, he taught me in pieces. First, he taught me, to go through that overhead, with the help of that overhead cable and the pulley and that rope which he helped me to move across the pool. Then he taught me how to exhale and inhale and put my mouth underwater. So he taught me in pieces, and then when he had perfected all those pieces, he put them together into an integrated whole. In April, he said. So he started teaching me in October, and in April he said, now you can swim. Dive off and swim the length of the pool, crawl, stroke. I did. The instructor was finished. Means his instructions had finished. But I was not finished. I still wondered. I was not finished. What do you mean by this? If this comes as a question to you, the instructor was finished, but I was not finished. What do you mean? Type it in the chat box. The instructor was finished, but I was not finished. Please type it in the chat box if you can. things become. Yes, he wanted to test himself. The instructor had done with he was done with his instructions. He had his job of teaching was over, but he still had doubts, and he had to test himself. Douglas, I still wondered if I would be terror stricken when I was alone in the pool. I tried it. I swam the length up and down of the pool. Tiny vestiges of the old terror would return. What do you mean by tiny vestiges of the old terror? Tiny vestige means tiny remnants, tiny pieces of those that terror again returned to me, seized me. But now I could frown and I could say, yes, remains, tiny remains, and I could say to that terror, trying to scare me, well, here's to you, look, and off I would go for another length of the pool. So this shows what? This shows that he had become confident enough. He had, what does it mean? What does this show to you? That he had shed all his terror and he had become a perfect swimmer. This went on till he had yes, very good. This is he had overcome his fear. This went on till July, but I was still not satisfied. I was not sure that all the terror had left. So I went to he wanted to try in different water walks. I went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire. I dived off a dock at Triggs Island and I swam 2 miles across the lake to Stamp Act Island. I swam the crawl, breaststroke, side stroke, and backstroke. I tried all the strokes. Once, only once, did the terror return. When I was in the middle of the lake, I put my face under and saw nothing but bottomless water. The old sensation returned, but in miniature. What is in miniature? That sensation, that terror returned to him once, only once, but in miniature. What do you understand by miniature? What is miniature? Very simple word. Yes, in a very small way. I laughed and I said, well, Mr. Terror, what do you think you can do to me? It fled. The moment I said that you cannot do anything to me, the terror fled and I swam on. Yet I had residual doubts. At my first opportunity, I hurried west, went up to Titan to Conrad Meadows, up the Conrad Creek Trail to Mead Glacier, and camped in the high meadow by the side of Warm Lake. The next morning, I just stripped, I dived into the lake and swam across to the other shore and back, just as Doug Capron used to do. I shouted with joy, and Gilbert Peak returned the echo. The peak also echoed. That, what was it that he shouted? That he had conquered his fear of water. He had overcome his fear of water. This experience had a deep meaning for me, as only those who have known terror, stark terror, sheer terror, and conquered it can appreciate. So he says only those people who have experienced such kind of terror and they have overcome it can feel what I'm feeling now and can understand what I mean to say. And what is it that he wants to say? I told you in the beginning when we started this chapter, he says, in death there is peace. There is terror only in the fear of death. As long as you fear death, you would remain fearful, you would remain frightened, because there is nothing in death. In death, there is only peace. As Roosevelt knew when he said, all we have to fear is fear itself. Because I had experienced both the sensation of dying and the terror that fear of it can produce. So he had experienced both of these things. The will to live somehow grew in intensity. I wanted to live, and that will to live, it grew in intensity after having these experiences. That sensation of dying and the terror that fear of that sensation can bring in you can produce more. At last, I felt released, free to walk the trails and climb the peaks and to brush aside fear. Okay, have you followed this chapter? All of you. Followed this or not? Yes or no? Everything? Everything? Okay, then we'll discuss the questions maybe tomorrow or day after. I'll tell you in the morning, maybe tomorrow or day after, but I'll be putting an assignment in your classroom app so that you can go to the questions and you can come prepared. And as far as your unit test is concerned, it is on 17th, and it would be, the link would be shared with you at 6:45 p.m. Okay, in the evening, and the test would start at 7. You would be given 1 hour to do it, and the link will close at 8. I hope this is clear to all of you. Clear? What is the syllabus for the unit test? Syllabus I've already put it in your class group. What is the syllabus? You people tell me. क्या है syllabus? बताओ. What is the syllabus? Yes, and yes, law spring and the third level. Okay, one chapter from Vistas and one from Stepping. Got it? So these 2 chapters and multiple choice questions and 1 hour duration on 17th in the evening. That's it. Okay. So let me take your attendance. If you have any doubts, if you want to ask anything, you can.